The Stars and Stripes began magnificently under manager Bob Bradley in 2007. Led by the steel of Carlos Bocanegra, Jackrabbit winger DeMarcus Beasley, and the explosive Clint Dempsey, the USA seeks to shed its label as European underachievers. It's an international friendly, Switzerland, USA, next on FSC.
Park here in Basel, where an international friendly is about to unfold. The Swiss taking on the United States. Max Bredos and Christopher Sullivan with you, and we anticipate this matchup. It's going to be an interesting game from minute 0 to minute 90. Tremendous lineups for both sides, not the ideal ones, but still a lot of talent. We begin with this Swiss team, very quality for Kobe Kuhn.
I think Kobe Kuhn is going to play with the same lineup they had against Austria. It's going to be a 4-4-1-1. Stiller is going to be up top. That's the key player. The player that's going to go behind him, they could have had 3 different players tonight. Xavier Margaret is the one who plays in Osasuna. He's going to get that lineup. You're also going to have Tranquilo Barnetta on the left side. This is a key player because he's got carte blanche to come in to create, make those central runs. He's very fast. He's got good accelerations, and he's very precise with his passing ability. Keep an eye on Gorkhan Inler. This is a player that plays in Udinese. He struggled a little bit in this country, but then one coach brought the best out of him, and he's really come on. He's doing well in Italia. This should be a dynamic team today.
So even despite they don't have Alexander Frey and Johan von Lanten, plenty of attacking options, plenty of talent for the Swiss. All right, for the U.S. team, we know this is a squad that is missing some key players that are based in Major League Soccer. Some guys are going to get a great opportunity to play. We know Maurice Edu is going to debut from the get-go. Several others may come off the bench, but still the core players at the front for the U.S. are the key.
Well, I like what they've done here. They're playing a 4-4-2, and you got a true number 9 in Taylor Twellman, who sits up close to the goal. Dempsey behind him in the second point. You got Beasley on the left. Edu, he's a player that's going to sit in the middle with Michael Bradley, and Bradley's very unselfish. He's also smart. He's good in the collective transition, so I think he'll bring him into the game. Feilhaber will be on the right, see how he connects with Scherendolo, and see if he can get Scherendolo overlapping and getting into the attack tonight.
All right, we're ready for kickoff. Switzerland and the United States as the U.S. took to get only their 4th win in 22 matches on European soil. They feel like they have a good shot, and if they can get it, then obviously U.S. soccer is going to get a shot in the arm, and that much-needed respect here in the old country, certainly in the eyes of Jakob Kuhn. So we are ready to roll. The Swiss in red, and the United States with some young players getting that opportunity to impress, some from the start. Others certainly will slip in off the bench. 6 substitutions available to both squads in tonight's match. There is the Swiss goalkeeper Pascal Zuber-Buehler, who has bounced around was playing at West Bromwich Albion, now plays back in Swiss football for Neuchâtel Xamax. We are underway. And it is the U.S. going left to right on your screen. And as we alluded to, the cross in, taken by Marcus Hahnemann. There is plenty of depth in the goalkeeping ranks. And there is the whistle, our referee, Frank de Bleckere of Belgium. As we look at big Johan Giroud. No Philippe Senderos, so Giroud is the leader in defense.
And it looks like we saw a little rain coming down here already. Yesterday when we were watching training, one of the things that we noticed was a lot of players were slipping when the U.S. team was training, so they got to have the right bottoms to their boots. Good pressure here from Twellman. If you're cutting, like really cutting hard, this grass only goes about 1/4 of an inch deep, so it's not like other European fields, so we'll see how that plays in tonight.
Match 17 of 2007 for the United States. As we alluded to earlier, 5 losses. This is Feilhaber. It comes out to Maurice Edu. It's pretty well off the left boot.
Well, that's a great early look. You can see the support in attack. The United States wants to make sure that they don't sit too far back. When they push up, they want to get the midfielders behind. Stay compact, not allowing too much space for Switzerland to transition out.
Maurice Edu, yes, it's cap number 1 for him. What an opportunity, and obviously the struggles that Toronto have had allowed him to make it to this U.S. squad. This is Ludovic Magnin on the left side, and the foul by Michael Bradley, of course the coach's son, who's had a great 2007 for the red, white, and blue. Quickly taken by Switzerland. That ball comes out wide to Indler. Certainly a cosmopolitan side for Switzerland, with last names of Spanish origin, Turkish origin, Italian, German, French, you name it. Cap number 74 for Eddie Lewis. Looks for Dempsey, back to goal. No Landon Donovan, so Clint Dempsey will show how he can lead the U.S. attack. He does have 8 goals in 34 appearances. Feilhaber. All the way back to Stefan Grichting. Big, imposing Swiss lineup, especially in the back. This is the left back. Ludovic Magnin goes about 6'4". Grichting. Underneath to Celestini. Magnin switches it to Giroud, the former Arsenal player, now playing for Steve Bruce at Birmingham City. Grichting. Short ball to Celestini. He can easily maneuver away from Dempsey. Now into the corner, a little pressure from Beasley. It does get through to Indler. Still alive for Switzerland. And it will be knocked out of there by Michael Bradley, the New Jersey native. Of course, Bob Bradley, who went to Princeton.
And you can see there's a confidence the way Switzerland plays. They have a nice build-up. When you get players like Indler on the right side, he just gets bumped up, but keeps his mobility and balance. He's going to be dangerous tonight. He likes to go. He has good acceleration. See a player down.
And a good look at Jakob Kobe Kuhn, as it is DeMarcus Beasley who is down. And he will be attended to. Kobe Kuhn, the first homegrown coach for Switzerland since 1989, took over for Enzo Trocero, the Argentine who preceded him. And obviously major concern for Bob Bradley, and also concern for those back in Glasgow. The Rangers winger has been sensational since arriving in the SPL. And it was David Deegan who got him.
He already had a little bit of an ankle problem going into this match, and they kind of kept it quiet because he realizes that he has to step up. They don't have all their key players. Tonight they have a lot of younger faces, so he's one of the engines that they count on.
On the opposite sideline, Feilhaber changing his boots. And we were talking earlier, Christopher, about this This pitch tonight, and we saw it in training for both teams, very tough to get the traction.
Yeah, and you give the edge to Switzerland there, because if you're playing in Europe, like so many players from the United States are, but you have the specialists. You can get the guys that are in metal shops, and they'll make them for you where they dig down. And you just see a little slip right there from Tranquilo Barneto as well.
And he flicks it back towards Magny. Well defended by Feilhaber with the fresh boots, and it obviously makes a difference. Beasley back onto the pitch, although he does look a little tender, favoring that right leg. The throw in from Cherundolo. Catching Taylor Twellman, who's really going to be challenged because of his late arrival to U.S. camp, and arriving on Sunday, a few days after the U.S. had set up in the Verdun-les-Bains to the south of Basel. This is Feilhaber, last touched by Inler, just 23 years of age, his 12th cap. For the United States, to get that victory on European soil, what approach should they take?
Well, I think the key is going to be tonight, they need to close down in the midfield, apply pressure when the opportunity presents itself, and then in transition be very quick but balanced. Utilize the wide play. That's the one weakness. You know, when you look at Germany, when they had that 3-1 victory in July, they were able to switch the play very quickly. And then support the attack. When you push your forwards up, make sure that the midfielders there take advantage of the set play, decisive in the final third.
Head coach Bob Bradley here on the sideline. And a growing schedule here for the United States, but does have the trophy and the Gold Cup to show for his efforts. And of course, in 2008, looking towards World Cup qualifying, although it's begun elsewhere, begins in CONCACAF a year later. Now Dempsey struggling with the pitch. That's going to slow it down. Expected the very pacey match. And that's one issue that may slow things down. The captain, Magny, Celestini, and now it quickens the ball back to Grichting. Skips out Giroud. This is Stefan Lichtsteiner. Bocanegra, who will captain the U.S. tonight.
When you take a look at Inler, he's a player that sits in the midfield, but a little bit above Celestini. He likes to get in behind the back four. Nice ball.
Twellman offside.
Just a little bit.
Taylor Twellman, one of 2 players based in Major League Soccer on this U.S. roster. There you see Hakan Yakin, very talented player for the Swiss, will start on tonight's match from the bench. 60 caps for his country. Good charge up the right side by, like, Deegan. No, it was Lichtsteiner, and he is fouled by Beasley. Again, DeMarcus Beasley, cap number 71, the top goal scorer on this U.S. side for the available players, has 15 goals. Of course, this summer, Landon Donovan becoming the all-time goal scorer for the United States. They rise here at St. Jakob Park. Magny trying to get into big Marco Streller. He's about 6'5", and Gucci Onyewu will take that defensive assignment.
And the one thing about Streller, he's not only good with his head when he comes into the air. You can see the United States pulled all the way up to the 18 to leave a space. That means that they have a lot of confidence in Hanneman back there coming out in the air. But Streller's one who can finish with his feet. He's good with both feet. He sees the goal well. He has a good timing. Very confident right now. Passing a good moment.
It'll be a throw in here for the Swiss. Eventually, it does get to that far side. Deegan gets it into Lichtsteiner. Intercepted by Dempsey. He has Twellman, but that's all. No look pass blocked by Giroud. Switzerland making the knockout stages in the World Cup. Disappointing loss to the Ukraine at that stage. Preparing to co-host the European Championships next summer with Austria.
And one of the things we're seeing early on here, Max, is that precision is golden. You got to play tight to the feet. The grass is very slippery. You can't make an adjustment, even if you're well balanced, to get to a ball that's not precise. That last little occasion where Dempsey came through, Twellman really has to make his run even earlier, even if it seems a little premature, just to open up the space and allow someone else to get in behind. Good ball here.
Dempsey's offside. Did have that head start. His club teammate Bocanegra serving that ball up. They both play at Fulham, and now they are joined by Casey Kaler, which really makes Fulham Team America in the Premiership. Two players from Derby County on this roster, Eddie Lewis and Benny Feilhaber. Magnin plays at Stuttgart, approaching half a century of caps. Pascal Zuberbuehler reaches that milestone tonight, his cap number 50 for the Swiss goalkeeper. Vic Steiner headed out by Bocanegra, cover provided by Onyewu. Feilhaber. Onside ball. That was in the direction of Deegan.
And I think having Eddie Lewis in the back against Brazil, they had Heath Paris. He did a good job for that particular match. You get Eddie Lewis, and you have to imagine that that's an offensive move as well, trying to get in as this game opens up, getting his crossing ability and take advantage. But we'll see how he does under pressure. He's been playing mostly as a midfielder.
Several U.S. supporters making their way to Basel, a lot of them professionals and students who have made the way here to Switzerland to cheer on the red, white, and blue Twelman.
Great ball.
And Dempsey will not address that. He was in an offside position, and the ball was behind him. It goes through to Zuberbuehler. Big ball from the goalkeeper as he looks for Streller. Not really his forte.
You can see that's a glimpse of something we might see later on in the game, that quick counter going to that part of the field. It's good to see Feilhaber get the ball going forward.
Hanneman. Marcus Hanneman backed up by Brad Guzan. Two additional goalkeepers on this U.S. roster. Chris Seitz, Tally Hall. Free kick won by Clint Dempsey. So this will provide an opportunity. DeMarcus Beasley will head towards the free kick area.
Yeah, and this is a great location. You see the United States right here, 12 minutes into the game. We talked about the first 15 minutes, giving a little pushback, being able to adjust to the tempo. I think they've done pretty well thus far. In the right midfield, Feilhaber needs to get a little bit more contact, a little bit more rhythm in the game. But we'll see they'll look for Bocanegra, who can be so dangerous on those slanting runs at the near post.
Beasley near post. Knocked away by Gökhan Inler. Back to Beasley, edge of the 18, chips it over Zuberbuehler's head and out of play.
Well, that's a good idea. You see DeMarcus Beasley, he's looking deep at the far post because there's a big presence of American players coming through. And there was a drop-off of the two Swiss defenders on the left side of the box. They need to come out and pressure him.
A2 off to Onyewu. You know it's a very nervous moment for Maurice Edu, the 21-year-old. His first cap, one of 5 Californians, by the way, in the starting 11 for Bob Bradley. He's from Fontana. Here's another of those Californians, Bocanegra.
You see, now you're seeing the first time that the Americans have found a little bit of successes. A nice movement here from Edu.
Edu basically playing the role that normally would be filled by Pablo Mastroeni.
And you can see that DeMarcus Beasley came in a little bit more central position, and that allowed Eddie Lewis for the first time to get wide and stretch the Swiss team.
Much better from the U.S. as they're starting to apply pressure. Taken by Eddie Lewis. Such a dependable player, whether at left midfielder, left back. That one to Streller. He doesn't have the pace. Closed out by Cherundolo and Onyewu.
That's better. One of the things I'm seeing, though, the United States, you say it's much better, but when they're getting into the final third, they look a little cavalier, lackadaisical. You know, they just don't have that heightened awareness. They have to be a little sharper. You saw the one where Dempsey let it go by. A little bit more intensity and energy when they get into the final third.
Onyewu getting a piece of Streller. The whistle from Frank de Blickery, a World Cup official.
You see Kobe Kuhn, he's off the bench right now. He's giving some indication to some of his players because a little bit of a caution for him to see the United States is building in confidence and Switzerland has come down a little bit.
And this is where Streller becomes a major factor. He awaits the free kick of Barnetta. Streller is on the ground, headed out of there by Bocanegra. Streller is up, and he's looking Onyewu's way. He doesn't like the physicality. Oh, and Beasley flew in there, almost came up with it. Instead, Switzerland in attack mode. This is Gökhan Inler for Barnetta.
Good change of tempo right here.
Lovely skills from Feilhaber. Right in front of us, he shuttles forward. Switches it away from Edu, and unfortunately that ball well offline. David Deegan.
And those are the little things we were talking about, the chemistry. You have 3 players in the defense that played against Brazil, 3 in the midfield, 1 up front. But you got to be on the same page and have that understanding. Just a little bit of, when you see the eyes, that you can play on memory and be a little bit more intuitive. You see Edu was in a good position right there. Feilhaber puts the ball in the air because he wanted to get it there more quickly, but they lose the ball.
Well, Switzerland's going to make a substitution here in the 16th minute. Steve von Bergen up on the sideline. We know there's 6 substitutions allowed of it, but Johan Giroud apparently picking up a hamstring injury. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. An injury, we'll leave it at that, but Giroud is stepping out. No reason to take any risks if you're Kobe Kuhn, and in comes Steve von Bergen.
And that's really been the story with Switzerland. They've had some great results. They tied Argentina, they beat Holland, they beat Chile. But every time that they played 2 matches within a week, they've always lost the second match after winning. They were talking about, Kobe Kuhn was saying that he believes the United States not only has good quality, several players that are playing in Europe, but they're a little bit fresher coming into this match. So it's a psychological block that they have to get past. That's what they're trying to work on tonight.
Well, this is a deep Swiss team, Christopher, but these injuries start to pile up, and it's going to be a major issue. They are already qualified, obviously, for the European Championships, which is the goal for all European teams right now. But Gigax, now Giroud, Senderos, Alexander Frey, Ricardo Cabañas. The list goes on and on. And those are all quality players. Feilhaber slips in.
Well, this is a little better for the United States. They need to turn it up as far as the level of their energy and intensity. Just when they win the ball, just crank it up a little bit. Look to connect the balls. They're getting in good positions in the back. Now they're seeing a little bit more better options.
Already, keep an eye on that Streller-Onyewu matchup, as they're already getting involved, a little something extra after the play. We'll see if that escalates. That's
a great point, Max. And one of the things that we talked about that we didn't really touch on enough in the pregame is Carlos Bocanegra and Onyewu, how valuable it is to have such players.
And there you see Giroud receiving attention. In the corner, this is a free kick for Switzerland as Xavier Margaret is clipped there. A couple defensive holding midfielders for the Swiss. This is Edu. Freddie Adu, by the way, on the bench for the United States. And over the top. Streller's very good as a target. I don't think he's going to make much of a difference on these kind of plays.
No, they've been well positioned in the back. They're taking good positions, and Onyewu and Bocanegra, so they're getting confident. And they've only had to play against Streller alone 1 point because they're playing that 4-4-1-1. Edu did well to win the ball and play quickly, but he didn't stay balanced and back off to give a little support after the ball went the other way.
Dempsey, and it got to Twellman. And right through to Zuber-Buehler. Swiss have had the majority of the possession early on in this match. Celestini. Tapped forward by Margaret. Hanneman, Michael Bradley, as he plays here close to Switzerland. Heerenveen in Holland, his 13th cap for the 20-year-old, who also had a busy summer with the under-20s. Grichting. Barnetta. Onyewu got in between Streller and Bocanegra. Barnetta. Cherundolo.
Well read from Cherundolo.
Maurice Edu. Adu over the top for Beasley. This showing some promise for the U.S. as they use the pace of Beasley, who is back in the Champions League playing for Rangers. Obviously something he was looking forward to. Hasn't done it since his days with PSV Eindhoven.
And that's good second effort right there, putting the pressure on. I think this is where the United States wants to be, stretching out that back four of Switzerland, using the speed, getting behind DeMarcus Beasley, and allowing other players to come in behind and operate behind Twellman and Dempsey.
A very confident crowd, I am sure, for this Swiss team. Again, for the United States, 21 matches on European soil, only 3 victories. They have come so close in so many of those matches. They would like to get over the top. If they could do it with this group, certainly amazing achievement. So far, so good. As 20 minutes in the books, no score here at St. Jakob Park in Basel, also known as Bâle, in the French region of Switzerland. Free kick as the rain continues. Magnin to take it.
Well, they have 4 players at the top of the box and then 2 behind trailing. One will come around and look for the back post.
And again, all eyes on Onyewu versus Streller. Magnin, that one's gone well wide. Took a deflection. Well hit back in. Edu's been very active in the central midfield for the U.S. Pressure from Dempsey. Magnin will see more pressure from Twellman. And the U.S. making the Swiss work.
You see Celestini is looking for the ball. He got to get a hold of the midfield. Switzerland hasn't really had that go-to player that can control the rhythm, get the other players into the play. But for me, Inler looks like the player who's going to be dangerous, number 27, who plays in Udinese. Nice ball.
Magaret, just 23, cap 15 for him. Moves away from Lewis, and the first save from Hanneman.
You see right here, he puts himself in a good position. He's just looking at that back post, drop off 3-4 players in the area.
Marcus Hanneman from Seattle, Washington. Washington State has produced so many great goalkeepers recently. Tally Hall, who's on this roster, is also from there. And of course, Casey Keller. Free kick for the U.S. Onyewu, the unlikely taker of this one.
And we're seeing a little bit of interchanging between Bradley and Edu. Sometimes Bradley's the one that going up a little bit further. Now we're seeing Edu, and he's not bad when he gets into the area. He scored so many goals for Toronto this year where he's come and arrived at the right time in the area. But now you see the support in the attack. They're getting more players up forward.
Beasley. And he feels the pressure from Fabio Celestini, who is a defensive midfielder, as is Xavier Margaret. So many attacking options for Switzerland unavailable, so they go with their best real available roster. Already had to make 1 substitution. Van Bergen in for Giroud in the back line. Handball from Edu. Flying up the right side is Lichtsteiner. Barnetta. This is Inler. Magnin. Barnetta. Really the jewel of Swiss football. Tranquillo Barnetta, just 22 years of age, playing at Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, you see Fehlhauer getting clipped down here from behind. Barnetta, I think Inler, you see on the other side, the right midfielder is trying to push the team forward because the energy that we thought we were going to see at the beginning, just really in the quick restarts, you haven't seen it. You've seen some accelerations individually on the right side, some on the left, but not what you expect from a European team.
And Johan Giroud, you certainly hope this wasn't a result of the unforgiving turf here. Right now, Edu can't control himself. Streller hit. And it's in behind the U.S. defense. First real rush from Deegan. And off the left boot, this is Lichtsteiner.
And see the final concentration is not there, but the opening movement to stretch out in transition was a little bit more dynamic, better from Switzerland playing through the middle of the field.
He is right-footed, using the left foot there. And they'd like to see better here in Basel. Not the pulsating affair we envisioned, but plenty of time yet to go scoreless at St. Jakob Park. The rain not helping things either. Deegan. One of two recent brother combinations in the Swiss national team. The other, the Yakin brothers.
Well, you got to like that. Deegan to look back before he makes the reception, open it up to Stella. He's starting to grow a little bit in this match. He's recovered some good balls and played out. Good job from Feilhaber positioning his body to pick up the foul.
Barnetta barges into him. Feilhaber. Both teams very careful about where they put their feet. Here comes Switzerland. That was von Bergen.
You see that again, it's going to go the United States way, but you see that little slip from Twellman. He was able to recover the ball very quickly and intervene, but then he had that little slip as he was trying to pull out on the right side.
So far, so good for the U.S. Another look at the Magnin slip. Dempsey just short of the 18. Good idea. Too long for Beasley, who does track back to get it. The outlet is Lewis. Lewis looking for Twellman, who does get to it, but over the back of Grichting.
We see right there, Twellman was just hanging a little bit there in the air, trying to position himself. Got caught, holding onto his back right here. You see him jump up early. Actually did well to spring up. This is one of the things that he does well. If he can get in front of the player, he's going to become more dangerous. That was pretty lofted, pretty high from Eddie Lewis. I'm used to seeing him make more driven balls in at the far post.
Onyewu over the back, free kick for Switzerland. Coming up on Friday, October the 19th, men's college soccer. We head to the Big East. West Virginia taking on Connecticut at 8 p.m. Eastern time, live right here on FSC. Celestini, Magnin. Back into Gökhan Inler. Over the top, Lichtsteiner behind Beasley. The cross gets in on Yewu. Did well, but it will be the first corner kick for the Swiss.
Better movement of the ball right there from Switzerland. You can see they accelerating the play, combining through the midfield, and then you get this great run on the right side. Nice connection behind the last defender.
Barnetta to take this corner. As the pitch getting very greasy out there with the rain. They go short. Magnin drives one in. Over the head of Streller. It caught Lichtsteiner, who tried to get it back into Celestini. Still there for the Swiss. The U.S. struggle to clear. Margaret.
I think we saw this in training as well yesterday. One thing about Eddie Lewis, he's taking more of a central position. That little back post run, there was no one there. Good recovery from Edu to come in, clear that out. But that's a glimpse of how Switzerland could be dangerous on set plays and standard situations. They did score against Austria. One of Strelli's goal, we call him Strelli, his nickname, that's easier for me, but was off a corner kick.
They looked for Streller there on that set piece. They did everything to get it to him, but they couldn't quite get it there. So the U.S. wiped their brow there as they reached the half-hour mark, still scoreless.
And at some point, Max, they have to keep engaging DeMarcus Beasley to get forward because he can keep the right defender back. And there's kind of two ways to hold off an attack. They just keep getting on this right side here.
Deegan for Barnetta.
Left side of the USA. This was one of the areas of concern for me. You want to play with Eddie Lewis. You want to utilize what he can do on offense. But from a defensive standpoint, can he stay with the pace of two players coming at him in that section of the field? You see Barnett there when he accelerates across the mid, in the heart of the area, how dangerous he can be.
Well, Heath Pierce is up on the sideline. I don't know if this is for an injury, but maybe the U.S. looking to make an adjustment. And now maybe for DeMarcus Beasley, who did pick up that injury earlier. Cleared away. And Beasley, you can see, he's right in the middle of the park, asking for the substitution from Frank de Bleekery. And this has got to be a major issue already. 2 injuries affecting both teams.
Well, I think that explains why we didn't see DeMarcus Beasley getting forward as much as we thought that he would. He's been injured. He's just been hanging on there the last 15, 20 minutes. So now you'll get a little bit of security in the back. Heath Pierce, he'll do fine there on the left side. Eddie Lewis will come up forward, I'd imagine. Yep.
Heath Pierce, who plays in Germany at Hansa Rostock, was playing before that in Denmark. A guy that more and more Bob Bradley can rely on. Just 23 years of age, cap number 9 for another Californian. Those may be permanent. Cherundolo. The foul by Dempsey. And now the U.S. training crew has to get to work on DeMarcus Beasley, and we certainly hope it is nothing serious. He continued after the injury, tried that, but realized it was a no-go. Free kick for the Swiss. Magnin looking for Streller. Gets it to Deegan. Knocked out by Bocanegra. Dempsey has done all his work back to goal. Adu. A real reward for him after a real struggle of a season at Toronto in their expansion year. He is a Rookie of the Year candidate. Slips, slides everywhere.
And we talked about it. I said there's going to be a lot of slips. We saw yesterday in the training, and it really does affect the players when they're trying to get that effect. You know, first-time balls that they're playing, cutting back sharp. They're losing their legs from under them. What I see, Max, right now, though, with the United States is they just lost DeMarcus Beasley. He's the speed element. He's a player that can stretch teams and open them up, get behind the back 4. So players like Feilhaber have to come in, a little bit more versatility, coming into the central, looking for the ball, getting other players in, combining, bring other players into the play. And maybe they're going to have to attack a little bit more intelligently, utilizing players like Eddie Lewis from wide positions, not getting down to the end, but looking for more diagonal balls in behind the defense or in front of them, Clint Dempsey and Taylor Twellman.
We got here Monday, Christopher, and this rain is new. The weather has been sensational. I mean, it's t-shirt weather. The cold weather is going to arrive tomorrow, but the rain arrives tonight. So this is something new for all of us since we've arrived here in Basel. Something the players will have to deal with a long way to go. Still scoreless at St. Jakob Park. Here's Fabio Celestini, who now plays at Getafe. Before that was with Olympique Marseille. Long-standing member of the Swiss national team. Grichting. So half an hour beyond so far here for Christopher. How would you rate the U.S. performance thus far?
Well, I think they're in this match. They haven't really, hit all cylinders by any means. The defense have looked pretty sharp. In the central defense, they've done pretty well against Streller. The only success that he's found is when he's got out into the wide points. They have those difficulties out on the left sector for the United States. Seems like they'll fix that with Heath Pierce. In the midfield, you haven't seen the personality step up. You haven't seen the players, when they have the ball, look, control the rhythm, get other players in. But I think that has a lot to do with the conditions they're under right now.
Dempsey hasn't got on track yet, but he labors on. Obviously, the Swiss defenders knew the key on this guy, who is having a great year for Fulham, scoring the goals for his Premiership side.
One of the things we're seeing, though, Max, is the last 2 occasions when Switzerland has tried to build out of the back. Dempsey has taken a good position, as has Twellman. They forced him back to the keeper, and they're starting to recover in the midfield.
Twellman's going to give this a look, but Lichtsteiner gets there first. Zuber-Buehler.
So this is better. I mean, if they can force Switzerland, they feel confident in the back with Onyewu and Bocanegra to win those balls up against Strela, and they can win the second ball in the midfield. I think that it could change the tempo and give a little momentum to the United States.
Rain starts to come down harder. There's Dempsey. We saw a lot of Dempsey Donovan during the summer. Dempsey Twelman, we'll see how this combination works. We'll see Brian Ching, another guy that would be a great candidate in the attack for the U.S. Bradley intercepts. Knocked out by Grichting.
This is going to skip. And you see Bradley, he's very good at anticipating those second balls and getting into the seams. That's what they need, a little bit of that. Change the momentum of this match.
Margaret. Magny. Back to Grichting. Inler. Lichtsteiner.
Great ball.
Celestini. Deegan. Back to Deegan. His cross blocked. Corner kick number 3 for the Swiss. The U.S. yet to get a corner kick.
You see better combination play from the Swiss. Inler makes himself available. Then they get out very quickly. You see Heath Pearce with a sliding tackle. Good recovery behind him. He's a pure defender. I think that gives a little more bite in that part of the field.
Barnetta. Magnin gets his header to it. And now away with it comes Cherundolo, distancing himself and the ball from the Hanneman goal.
And in transition, you just don't have the presence up high. All the players were back because they're so preoccupied with the size and the aerial ability of Switzerland.
Big Pascal Zuber-Buehler. Fabio Coltati started the match against Austria over the weekend. A comprehensive win for the Swiss against their co-hosts next summer.
And I think one of the things, if you ask any of the players of Switzerland or the coach Kobe Kuhn, they have much more respect for the United States. They know that it's a country that can play better football than Austria right now at this point. One of the things we've seen, though, is they're finding success on the right side for Switzerland. Barnetta has interchanged back and forth. He's started out mainly on the left, but if you remember 2006 World Cup, he played on the right quite often. And they played against Korea and also against Togo.
Cherundolo, Feilhaber. Switched by Edu. You don't want that ball to hit the ground because it just skips away.
Yeah, and you see Perth, again, the defensive nature comes into play, and that's important. Nice ball from Edu, but just that extra pause, that extra second that he takes allows the Swiss player to get in to recover the ball.
Hanneman's off his line, and he judged that well, knowing that the skips that ball will take. Heath Pearce keeping an eye on David Deegan as we move right along this first half, still scoreless. Again, 6 substitutions available to both teams. They've already made one, injury related on both sides. For the U.S., they will blood some youngsters, I'm sure, in the second half.
So this is a good opportunity right here for the United States, and Dempsey does well. He puts himself in a good position, picks up the foul. Now you got Eddie Lewis with an in-swinging left that he can put, gives fantastic delivery here. Hopefully, we'll see if he can do what he's accustomed to doing. Now you have a good presence in the area.
Lewis. Oh, and unlucky for the U.S. I think it was Bradley coming through who caught a piece of Magny. Foul conditions out there right now for both teams to deal with.
We see Grichting, I mean, he's a big guy, and he's battling in there. It's important to set the tone very early on the set plays to get your positioning.
All the fans with the canopy over them in a dry part. Not so for the players. Inler. Some jeers coming from the Santiago crowd. This is Deegan, pardon me, Lichtsteiner. Streller.
And they're still working on that right side. You're getting better coverage there from Heath Pearce. One of the things that we talked about earlier, we were speaking about it the other day, Max, when you look at the United States and what makes them successful, the ingredients, and you know, to let other players operate is players like Landon Donovan and DeMarcus Beasley because of the speed element. They're still very technical, they're smart, they know how to change gears, accelerate into spaces and stretch out teams, and that takes the pressure off the block in the midfield.
Pierce. Jakob Kobe-Kuhn. It's been a who's who on the Swiss sideline in recent years. Roy Hodgson, Uli Stielike, just to name a few. Five minutes left in this first half. Uneventful till now. The Swiss with the upper hand, but they haven't broken through. A credit to the U.S. defense. Barnetta. Richting. In recent years, the most famous matchup between these two nations occurred in the Detroit Silverdome in the '94 World Cup. The U.S. and the Swiss tying 1-1. Eric Winalda scoring on that day.
And that was a great goal. Fantastic goal.
From the free kick. Who could forget that?
1 in a million.
In the dome. Tiny defending again from the U.S.
And we're starting to see little bits of spaces now in between Switzerland, how they're defending, you know, the spaces that they're allowing in the midfield between the defenders. I haven't seen much switching from side to side from the Americans, where they're utilizing the width. Not that they've been under too much pressure. I think they've been bypassing those options and looking a little bit more direct.
Interest flagging from Hakan Yakin on the Swiss bench. Feilhaber gets it to Dempsey. Back to Feilhaber. He's found some space there. Twellman.
Oh.
Onside. Eddie Lewis. Save from Zuberbuehler.
It's a big save from Zuberbuehler. Huge opportunity right here from the United States. You see the combination play getting forward. Twellman does well to be able to locate Lewis. Puts himself in a good position, but look at his first touch. He takes himself out of his angle. And now he loses that option to go for the far post. Big opportunity.
Pardon me, Christopher. Eddie Lewis, who's been sensational in a season of struggle for Derby County. He's been one of their focal players, and Zuberbuehler, really his first work of the day. So the first corner kick of the U.S. Feilhaber watching his footing. Gets it in. Twellman unmarked. Twellman again. Third effort. Bradley off the volley. Adu flags down, but Zuberbuehler has it. Everyone on side there as the action picks up. Adu commits the foul there, but what an opportunity, or opportunities for the U.S.
Well, you see right here, the first full volley. The second one's more technical to keep it down. That's well done. Bocanegra's just sitting there, tries to redirect it because that ball's skipping right at him. He did well again. Keeper does great coming up.
Buehler not involved, but he was wetty. Celestini. Feilhaber commits the foul there right in front of our Belgian referee. No yellow cards thus far, hasn't really warranted it. Quickly taken by the Swiss. Barnetta out wide left. Cherundolo marking him. Help from Feilhaber. Magnin crosses, deflected by Cherundolo. Almost fell for Streller. The counter here for the U.S. Cherundolo can't spot it. On Yewu.
Not a bad idea. He's trying to release Lewis, but you look at the young players, how they do, and that's a nice technical play there from Adu. He was calm, he made a feint, he opened up, connected a pass, and broke the pressure in the midfield.
Over the top, this is Magaret. And the U.S. get the free kick. Christopher, is it safe to say that the U.S. tonight have played better without Beasley? Since he's come out, they've got their chances.
Well, I think they've had to pick up their game because they knew, you know, the player they want to get behind, who's the motor in attack, is not there. So other players have to pull out other attributes of their game. And we're seeing, you know, we talked about earlier, Feilhaber is playing out wide. At first, I think in the first 10-15 minutes, he was very static, staying in that position. After a while, those runs through the middle of the field, he can create more because he's a little bit more creative, knows how to connect, knows how to combine, can strike from distance. That's the kind of versatility and variation that you need in the attack. They have to take those risks.
Streller now pointing the finger at Onyewu. This has been going on the entire first half. Streller floors Onyewu. Yellow card for both. My. We knew it was going to escalate. It just has. I think that betting line started to get active as to who would get the first yellow card. It was a pretty easy choice. It was going to be either one of these two. In the end, it's simultaneous.
And we see our referee, Frank de Blickrit. He's just trying to set the tone, get those two under control. Well, this is good. I like the way the two central defenders of the United States have played. I mean, we've seen them play against Brazil. We've seen them play against the Central Americans through the Gold Cup. Those matches we've done. Now they're playing against a European opponent, and they definitely feel comfortable with this challenge.
We're into stoppage time. One additional minute. Margaret.
They're trying to, excuse me, Max, sorry, they're trying to pin down Barnett a little bit closer on that line and not allow him too much space where he can turn and face and go at players.
Look at the watch from Frank de Blickery. It's on the feet of Pascal Zuber-Buehler. He'll knock it out. Barnetta. Plenty of time for Onyewu. He sets his feet. Feilhaber. Nice ball for Cherundolo. Maybe one last look for the United States, trying to get it to Twellman. Inler. Magny.
Manin does well, but he's going to hold on a little too long. I see the pressure's a little higher. Now they're coming off, but just at the end, a little bit more confidence with the Americans. They're coming forward, pressuring higher. They've got a couple good looks on goal. Not a bad conclusion to the first half.
Jakob Kuhn not exactly pleased by the look on his face from what he has seen. Neither is the crowd here in Basel. After 45 minutes, the U.S. have held the very active Swiss. This has really been one of the talking points, and maybe a red card was for Marco Stroller. In the end, it's a yellow apiece for he and Onyewu. And we will see what happens in the second half. It is a friendly, so we will see some changes, I am sure, as to what side time will tell. So we'll send it a break here. The halftime score at Santiago Park, Switzerland 0, USA 0. Back here in Basel, scoreless in the first 45 minutes between Switzerland and the United States. We'll have several changes to start the second half. We'll update you on all of that, but concern obviously from the Swiss as we left the first half between Kobe Kuhn and his #1 Michel Pont, and they were a bit concerned about the challenge put forth by the U.S. We'll see if the U.S. can finish the job. So far, so good, as their defense is held up, and they did get a few chances at the end of the first 45. We'll let you know about the Swiss changes later. I can tell you Brad Guzan, Dan Califf coming into the starting 11 to start this second half. More perhaps to follow. The Swiss crowd, I'm sure, quite happy that the rain has subsided. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, it has been uncharacteristically warm for October in Switzerland. Christopher bought his collection of scarves, but hasn't had a chance to use them. Again, Dan Califf coming in for Oguchi Onyewu. Brad Guzan, who, again, like Taylor Twellman, came in on Sunday, or left the U.S. on Sunday, replaces Marcus Hanneman. And certainly for Brad Guzan, he's that new young goalkeeper on the horizon that may have a bright future for the national team. The U.S. going right to left on your screen, clad in blue. Glace and Kufo, one of 3 changes for Switzerland. Dempsey gets the ball.
That's a better ball right there from Feilhaber. You can see he's looking more for a diagonal. He just couldn't link up. Dempsey had a good idea. Twellman wanted to get in behind the defender. Dempsey wanted to play 1-2, and he played it back.
It's going to be a free kick for Hakan Yakin, who's just came in to the match. All right, I saw you catching up with assistant coach Peter Novak. What did he have to say about the U.S. effort coming in the second half?
Well, pretty much what we were talking about at halftime. He said they need to be more compact, more cohesive in the midfield, and they have to keep players surrounded around the ball. Switzerland is tripling up on the left side of the United States, so they need more support there. In transition, the same story. He said going forward, we need to be quicker, we need to support, we need to get the support of our high forwards behind them. into the attack in that different phase. I think what we're seeing, though, is the benefit of Kobe Kuhn, that he can call upon 3 players and keep the energy intense and high for his team in the game. You put in a player like Gelson Fernandez, who's very talented. Hakeem Yakin, who we talked about, I thought he was going to be introduced a little later. Normally he would be a sure starter in this match, but his physical limitations have been a little bit lower in the capacity, so his recovery is not quite it was a few years ago.
We saw Yakin. He wasn't impressed by the play as he slouched down in his seat on the Swiss bench. This is Magnin. Yakin, along with Blazen Kufo and Gelson, a very talented young player who plays at Manchester City, have come in for the Swiss. We'll let you know who they replaced as soon as we get that information.
And I like this, that the quick restart. Cherundolo, he's going one-on-one against his buddy Barnetta, but he gets right back up, plays the ball into play. Not taking too long, trying to get the United States back into a rhythm that's a little bit quicker.
Here's the U.S. A bright start here in half number 2. Bradley for Pierce. Hurdles the challenge of Deegan. Comes to Bocanegra. Pierce.
This is better, Max. They're starting to see the angles. They're starting to open up a little bit more. You see Deegan is nice. Eddie Lewis is good in this position.
He let that go right through. Let it well. Looking for the corner kick. I think he's gotten one.
Well done.
He has, and the lead official will make that call.
That's good. The opening movement of the reception from Eddie Lewis was very good. He puts himself in a good position. He was looking to cross.
The cross in. It's gone through to Danny Califf.
Big opportunity. You just see Switzerland sleeping. Nobody picked up Eddie Lewis. He's in the box. Was able to turn right here, right inside of the referee. He's got an eye on goal. He's looking for the near post run. And those are big opportunities. You're right in the heart of the area. You got to head that down.
Interesting enough, after we ended the first half with that little pushing and shoving between Oguchi and Yewu and Marco Strella, neither of those 2 players start the second half. So both coaches thinking the same way as to perhaps a bit of silliness between those 2 in what is labeled a friendly, but we know you really can't call it too much. And Kufo is the replacement for Streller in this case. Quickly taken from the free kick, Magnin, and gets it out to Inler. The cross is in. Nice touch by Bradley. He leads Eddie Lewis. Eddie Lewis, a surprising 33 years of age. He looks younger, he plays younger.
That's a great touch right there from Inler in the center of the park. They're putting him a little bit more as the pulse of the team, you know, the nucleus in the midfield. And this is what Peter Novak was just talking about. They're placing 3 players around the left side and complicating it for players, not only to get out for Eddie Lewis, but also to defend. They're overloading that side. We talked about that in the first half.
Bocanegra, Bradley.
Great movement.
The U.S. really closed the gap that the Swiss created in the first half. They're more confident right now. And they're going right at this Swiss defense. Pierce. Through the legs, Eddie Lewis. Tightly marked there by Lichtsteiner.
And you see the markings of Switzerland. There's a reason why they didn't give up a goal in the 2006 World Cup. This is a team that knows they're disciplined, they're organized, they fight for each other, they recover, they make it difficult.
Dempsey for Lewis. I can tell you, DeMarcus Beasley, a left ankle contusion as Zuberbuehler steps in there. Looking to quicken the pace that we have alluded to so much in our pregame that we thought we'd see here. The rain stops and starts. This one to Gelson. Gelson Fernandez, 21 years of age. His 3rd cap. Lichtsteiner. Inler.
Great tackle. Great tackle.
That was Pierce. Bradley. And now Feilhaber. The overlap. Cherundolo with plenty of pace. Beasley and Twellman in the area. It's just over the head of Twellman into the hands of Zuberbuehler.
Zuberbuehler did well to come out, read it perfectly.
And Yakin all over the back of Adu. And and the yellow card to Adu. Really unlucky there.
We'll have to take a look at this. You see the little pause, change of acceleration right here, and I don't see that as a foul from Adu. I think he got it wrong.
Wow, that should be a yellow for Yakin. Oh, that's 60 caps for Yakin. Cap number 1 for Adu. He got done in wrong that time. And just defending himself like anyone else would. Bit of a overreaction perhaps on Adu, got him in trouble. Maybe a double yellow like we saw with Strehler and Onyewu would have been just. Lichtsteiner, Deegan, Bocanegra all over him. Lichtsteiner slips it through. Cherundolo helping out Guzan.
Well, we're seeing right now that Inler is starting to build his appetite. He's getting in the center of the field. He's got the nice touches. He's got good control, good vision. And he's one that the United States have to make sure that they're careful and attentive and alert around him. Put a little bit more pressure and don't allow him that freedom to enjoy that space. You see Bob Bradley, he's up off the bench. You were talking about the Americans starting to attack a little bit more, but you can see Switzerland has come out with a newfound vigor in the second half. They stepped it up a little bit. The intensity is a little bit higher on the other side of the ball.
And Kufo. Numbers for Switzerland on the right. Deegan, Lichtsteiner.
Well done. You see Eddie Lewis was high. Obviously, he's playing in the midfield. Bradley had to come over and support for him.
Three of the 6 substitutions have been used already for the United States. There's one of them, Brad Guzan.
Yeah, keep an eye. Steller's at the near post, so he's going to try to break everything up and allow someone coming into the heart of the area.
That one knocked away. Lichtsteiner. Deegan. Oh, and it got in there for a moment. That cross was actually from Barnetta.
Yeah, it was well done from Barnetta. Again, it was Cherundolo who came all the way across to try to apply high pressure on Barnetta. And Barnetta did well to concentrate and just strike it. I was saying Steller at the near post a moment ago. Actually, he's out. It was David Deegan who was at the near post. He's close. He's in that
very tall. There's a lot of tall players for the Swiss. You see the remainder of the U.S. bench. Freddie Adu there. Also Danny Zatela, Jay Demerit, Robbie Finlay. This is match number 17 of 2007 for the United States. Match number 18 will occur in November in South Africa. We've already added the first match of 2008 as the U.S. will take on Sweden January 17th at the Home Depot Center. Check ussoccer.com for tickets as the U.S. will be back in the homeland to kick off the new year, and obviously the goal on the Olympics as well as World Cup qualifying. Magnin with the free kick, 10 minutes into the second half. Not as tall in the attack, but that big center forward of Strehler, that didn't really work for the Swiss tonight. Gelson. Van Bergen. Lichtsteiner. Tight marking off of Barnetta. Throw in USA. Bocanegra, he's been superb tonight. Dempsey. Bradley. Great support player Michael Bradley has become. Over the top for Lewis, but as has been the case, the ball will skip away when it hits the turf.
Well, we're seeing at times right now in this part of the second half where Switzerland has transformed, almost looking like 3 up top. And Deegan starts playing very high, but Inler has been the key. This little, what Switzerland has been able to do, the little bit that they've been able to do to look more fluid in attack and combine has come through the feet of Inler. He's very young, but you see that he's composed, he's calm, he has good technique, and he has great vision. So now the pressure from Adu, this is his challenge. He's got to put a little bit higher pressure, try to complicate it for him. It's well done right here.
It's Caleb. Now Bradley, as you had a quick look at the color here in Basel of the Swiss fans, haven't really seen the cowbells that we usually see when the Swiss are playing. That's probably a blessing in disguise, as the sound level would go through the roof.
One of the things, Max, in the 2006 World Cup, many times when we were watching Switzerland, they were getting good results. They're playing well against a pretty good group. You know, they came in and qualified ahead of France. But it wasn't until the second half, many times, that they woke up and started playing a little bit better football, taking more risk, a little more creativity. And I think we saw in the first half as well, they played very plain. You know, not much fantasy in their play, not too much creativity. They stayed in this game, but you see in the second half, the game's going to open up a little more. You've got players that can do something on the ball.
Fehlhaber couldn't quite get his foot to it. Magny for the Swiss.
That's better work for Fehlhaber.
Barnetta's in there as well, and last touch by Clint Dempsey.
We saw about 5-8 minutes ago where Bradley had connected into the feet of Fehlhaber, and the United States had a nice sequence going forward. Fehlhaber was more central in the midfield. I think he just can't be limited on the right side. He's got to be a little more free. I think he works better in the center of the park.
Bocanegra easily outplays Nkufo there. Good ball for Lewis. Lewis's blind pass through the midfield circle is intercepted by Indler. Lichtsteiner. It's by Lewis. Lichtsteiner helped by Deegan. This is Heath Pierce.
See a slip again from Barnetta, and you see the frustration. He just came to win that ball on the second effort. He was in the neighborhood and almost got there, and the feet came out from under him. This is the tempo we talked about before the game. You can see they're starting to speed up, better interchanging, better combination play, higher intensity.
Well, Maurice Edu has done wonderfully. His stock soaring. Such a big spot to come into, playing a top European side on European soil. His first cap, and Edu has been outstanding. Above average, certainly. And earning the faith put in him by Bob Bradley. Lichtsteiner. Yakin. Magny. This is Grichting. At the hour mark, Switzerland 0, USA 0. The natives are restless. Danny Califf will get the free kick, his legs taken from underneath him. Danny Califf, like Jay Simek, certainly he's not here. Jay Demerit as well. So many of these central defenders trying to move up the pecking order in the U.S. camp. Califf playing at Aalborg in Denmark. Not a lot to cheer for the Swiss fans. Hey, Roger Federer will be in town later this month, so maybe they don't cheer here. They'll get that chance later on. Indler.
You can see this is the one that has the light over his head. Indler, he's been the talent on the field. He's sharp with his touches. His head goes up right away. He's got a vision. He's trying to stretch the game, look for players at the back post. If he can get on the same page with Hakan Yakin and also Barnetta, then this team could accelerate, you know, get some more positive attacks for Switzerland. But I like what I see out of Scherendel. He's done well in the one-on-one battles. With Barnetta, he's held in there. He's recovered.
Yeltsin. That one under the foot of Califf. Cover from Pierce. Barnetta. Yakin. There's two of the three you mentioned. Back to Barnetta. These great young under 23-year-old Swiss players that have come through the under 17s, who were the under 20s. The under 20s were European champions not that long ago. The Swiss youth program is one of the best right now worldwide. Magny. Try that one again. Switzerland getting the upper hand. The comb over header by Nkufo. Here's Blaise Nkufo, who gets cap number 12. He plays in Holland for Twente. Even the fans are getting a boot change. Out wide to Cherundolo. Played well against Brazil. He's playing well tonight towards Twellman.
Yeah, he's looked good. That's a good ball. Just releases into Twellman behind the defense. You see the higher pressure of Fehlhaber.
Foul by Fehlhaber. We mentioned the the conditions on the pitch and how everyone's slipping. It's like they're playing on an ice rink. It's getting worse as the match goes on. Here's Yakin. Deegan will not chase it. Michael Bradley. The pace has been quick as expected. Bradley gets it to Eddie Lewis, slightly behind Twelman, and taken by Grichting. Make sure you join us this Saturday for MLS Saturday on FSC. We will be at the Home Depot Center as Chivas USA take on the Houston Dynamo. Our pregame show starts at 10 p.m. Eastern time, and it is live. Saturday, October the 20th, Chivas USA and the Houston Dynamo. And by the way, that match for top spot in the Western Conference.
We're seeing the last attack here from Switzerland. It was actually great work in the midfield from Bradley. He couldn't get the second touch on it, but he didn't have the support behind. But Pierce started heading back to goal and allowing a little too much space on that attack.
Throw in for Switzerland.
One thing hasn't changed. From the first half, we said Switzerland was finding success on their right side, the left side of the U.S., and they've overloaded that area. You look for the adjustment.
Twelman.
Now that's an important possession right there from Twelman. Just not on the same page. Dempsey's got to make the adjustment and pull back and try to get on that.
This is Gelson. Caught the eye, certainly, of one Sven-Göran Eriksson as he moves to Man City. With regards to this pitch, Christopher, you have to imagine when the European Championships roll around, they have to really address this. As the heavyweights in Europe, this won't be good enough. So work to be done by the groundskeeper.
No, I agree. And we walked on the field yesterday when we came out at the training, put your thumb into the grass, and it was less than a quarter thick. Players were slipping, and the players that were slipping were players that have excellent balance on the U.S. team. And that kind of raised a red flag for me, and we've seen what's happened tonight.
Again, 3 knockout matches to be held here. This is the main Swiss venue. The final will be held in Vienna. Inler, blocked by Cherundolo. Edu.
Well done. Again, he's making the right decisions. He's been calm on the ball. He has to play a little bit quicker, but I think he's done well. We're seeing Kufo. One of his qualities is that he runs well off the ball, deep in behind the defenders. So you get a little more mobility, and that's going to free up players like Hakan Yakin.
Edu locates him, although Yakin pulls it out. Inler, Barnetta, Magny. Barnetta. And Kufo. Barnetta stops in the 18, and he slips.
Well, the first opening reception was perfect. Fantastic. He was able to separate himself, got himself in a good position. He takes that extra little touch because he wants to come around and belt it right here. That's where he loses his balance. He's going to slip right here, just out as he tries to plant with his right foot.
Barnetta, who plays at Bayer Leverkusen, of course, the former club of U.S. internationals Frankie Haydock and Landon Donovan.
He was talking in the papers and saying that the coach, Kobe Kuhn, really keeps him well grounded. He's the one that critiques him. Even though he had a great performance the other night, he was talking about the bad passes that he made and how he needs to get better. He has a clause. He has a contract till 2010, but he has a clause that can't go to any other team in Germany, but he can go to a team in Italy, Spain, or England. We might see that in the next, before his contract runs out.
Inler commits the foul on Dempsey. It's a free kick for the U.S. U.S. with a great chance to get that opening goal.
Keep an eye on Bocanegra. He takes a lot of traffic with him. That'll free up. Maybe they'll look for Twelman at the back post.
It's Eddie Lewis's ball. The near post, headed out by Grichting. Edu. Still alive, Feilhaber. Bocanegra. Everyone's on here. Dempsey chases, gets in front of Lichtsteiner. It'll be a throw-in for the United States. So this Swiss team that have beaten Holland, tied Argentina, crushed Austria over the weekend, are having their struggles here with the U.S.
You see, not bad service, but Bocanegra's at the back post. If Eddie can get that, he's taken 2 or 3 tonight. If he can get a little bit deeper at the far post, I think they're going to find better success. They haven't been able to get over the Swiss defenders.
Dempsey, I should also mention, were a Alexander Fry penalty kick away from reaching the quarterfinals of the World Cup. A quality side and a quality test for Bob Bradley's men. And Kufo is fouled by Caleb.
We're looking at Bob Bradley. He's on the sideline there. He's kind of looking down, looking up, and walking slowly. And this is around the time when you think about if you want to introduce someone in the second half, who can make an impact, who could fill in for the spot. Maybe Dempsey's been dragging a little bit. He's a player you want in there because when he's close to the goal, he can tip the scale and score for him.
Yakin. Oh, great ball. Secure save.
But we might see, you keep the pure number 9 in there with 12 men, either one of the two, and you add a player like Robbie Finley, if he's ready to come in, add a little speed, try to stretch the back 4, open something up for the United States.
It has been a long camp for the U.S. They've been at it for 5 days. So fatigue may be an issue, especially for those that have had the busy European calendar like Dempsey. Caleb will see it through. Here comes Guzan.
We saw Bradley and Feilhaber. They were so good against Brazil because they were close in the territory. They understand each other. They combined well. They turn out of pressure extremely well. What we're seeing tonight with that block of Switzerland is that the players are isolated with 2-3 players around them the whole time. It becomes complicated to connect out.
Adu plays it wide to Lewis. Twelman, it's under his foot. Now it's Dempsey, held by Grichting. Lewis again. Couldn't come up with it clean. A little push there on Deegan. Inler switches it. Nice ball by Inler to Magny. We hit the 70th minute, still scoreless in Basel. Magny, Yakin. Barnetta.
That's good. Good reaction, good aggressive attacking the ball from Sherendel. He's been on tonight. He's been sharp. He's had to be because they've come at him. He knew from the beginning. He knows former teammate Barnetta how he attacks.
Into Nkufo, cleared by Adu. Twelman. Plenty of space here for Lewis. He'll be there first in front of Yakin. Twelman. You can see they really try to get those feet underneath them before making any sharp movements.
Yep.
That was Van Bergen. Gelson.
You see a little bit of drop off from the midfield now in between the 2 lines of the forwards and the U.S. midfield, giving. Oh.
This is onside. Here comes Nkufo. Not the right choice from the substitute. And the U.S. dodge a bullet there.
Great ball from Magnin. The first time on the ground, just slotted him through, diagonal run.
Deegan withdraws there. I'm not sure if he's disappointed by the effort. He may have picked up a knock. Guzan. Again, the U.S. come in with 5 straight losses. 3, of course, at the Copa America, where they didn't have the ideal roster. A loss against the Swedes and then a loss against Brazil. Obviously 5 very good teams in that process. And they're looking to end that streak here. So far so good. And
yeah, to put it in perspective as well, they came off a very successful Copa America. He's off. And then very successful Gold Cup. And they went to the Copa America and they weren't able to use their best squad, but they still tried to make the best of the situation. And there's 3 wins, there's 3 losses right there. I thought they played really well against Brazil. The game in Sweden was a midweek game that I don't think they played their best. They had good 45 minutes.
Van Bergen. By the way, you can see on that replay that Carlos Bocanegra really responsible for wrecking the play of Nkufo.
We'll see, the U.S. is all right in defense. The way they're holding in the midfield, if that's the objective.
Here's Deegan. Pierce is with them. Soft cross for Barnetta.
Good touch.
Bocanegra again has put out many a fire. Twellman.
You see, you see with Twellman on one side, Barnetta on the other, he came in like ballet. He was able to control it. This is the other player before, Good technique, and then he just slips out again. And you'd hope for Barnetta that he doesn't stretch his groin out because both legs came apart.
And Barnetta, he kept his feet. He went down after the slip, even though the crowd here wanted the penalty decision.
See, the first touch was great, and both players slip. You see from a different angle right here. Sometimes if you slip and both legs go out, it could be the inside of the knee. He's holding his left side on the outside, so you hope he's all right.
Slips here, slips there. I haven't seen this many slips since we went to Victoria's Secret. They're all over the shop, as the U.S. and the Swiss have both struggled with that.
Great move.
This is Cherundolo, Feilhaber, Dempsey, and Twellman there. Headed out by Van Bergen. Deegan. Lichtsteiner. These balls will not cooperate, but that time Deegan did well, bangs it off of A2, corner kick.
And you see, Deegan can push the game in the counter. They came about a full 80 yards right here. They used the right side of the field, well covered from the United States, but then that final run into the area, he separates himself, picks up a corner. That was a better attack before from the United States. They had 6 players into the area.
Set pieces, priceless. Haven't been many tonight. Yakin, near post. That was Cherundolo. Bob Bradley up off his bench. He may be looking down to the reserves to see if he wants to make a change. And he might have just made the call. Jakob Kuhn, I think, thinking the same thing. Nothing from the corner kick. They'll settle for the throw. Lichtsteiner tangled with Lewis. And now a free kick for Yakin. 75th minute. Still looking for our first goal at this point. Could be our only goal. The Swiss, in the meantime, are going to their bench. Number 17, Christoph Spiecher, replacing the beloved Tranquillo Barnetta.
Not a bad performance from Tranquillo Barnetta. You see he was trying to push it open in the second half.
Spiecher, who just came in, plays at Eintracht Frankfurt. Hard to play at the level Barnetta's accustomed to with these kind of conditions. Yakin. Oh, nice ball, and Guzan punches. Yakin well again, straight to Guzan.
And I think on set plays, the U.S. have been pretty solid. I mean, they've done well. They've won the balls. They've been committed at the near post. They have a good presence defensively. Look at this opening kick here from Guzan.
Pardon me, Christopher, but Freddie Adu getting a few words. We mentioned Bob Bradley, and we heard it from Carlos Bocanegra on their website that he has those conversations with the players that are sometimes difficult, but he's got a lot to say. Adu is responding well. They'll seal it with a handshake.
Well, you got to love that. I mean, the words that went on there, I think he's saying enjoy it. You know, you're in a game where you're going to be able to express yourself, fight for the team, do the simple things. And I think this is a great game to introduce Freddie Adu. You have Eddie Lewis. He might be the player that's coming out. Look at, he's on.
Dempsey. And Grichting.
Now, they could have him play a little bit behind Twellman, but I think that they'll...
It's for Twellman. And for Freddie Adu, the 18-year-old, his second cap. And obviously, this is a player with all the phenomenon, and several of the Swiss public would recognize him. Moved to Benfica, hasn't got the playing time he has wanted, but time for a kid of this age to be patient.
A lot of work off the ball for Twelman tonight. Got into the corners, tried to hold up the ball. Now you're going to have someone who can operate a little bit behind. Great ball. Beautiful.
Trundolo for Dempsey. That was Van Bergen who had taps it away. Yakin. The Swiss are getting in each other's way. Adu whacks it. There's Adu, and behind him, Adu.
Look at this right here. Freddie Adu, he knows that the run's coming. Just a little bit of creativity. That's what disbalances the Swiss. That's what's been missing in the first half. Great little action. Great first touch.
And you can hear the chant of Freddie from not only the U.S. public that's here, but from some of the Swiss. Magny. Yakin. Firm challenge from Caliph. Adu. Gelson. Van Bergen. Lichtsteiner. And Kufo. Behind Deegan, throw in for the United States.
So now Freddie's going to sit right above the two functional midfielders with Adu and Bradley. And he'll sit in between those two players and Dempsey up high.
Dempsey commits the foul there over the back of Lichtsteiner. Yakin. Van Bergen. Grigsting. Magny and Kufo. The U.S. have sent a message to Nkufo. If you're going to make your way to that final third, you're going to really feel the lumber. Feilhaber. Freddie Adu, obviously a whirlwind for him in the last few months, making the move to Europe.
I think that was a good change. I think when you look at the United States, they've been solid in the back. They've been good in the midfield. They've been disciplined, organized. Up front, they haven't had the presence that you look for that we're accustomed to seeing with DeMarcus Beasley and Landon Donovan.
This may work. Dempsey for Adu. He's got the pace. The strength's a different issue, although he held very stern there against Van Bergen. We hit the 80th minute. It's still scoreless here at St. Jakob Park. The cross. And Eddie Lewis had that forearm up in the air and commits the foul. He was onside, as was Dempsey.
But one of the positive things that we've seen, Max, is since Freddie Adu has come in, it's pulled back some of the Swiss players on their heels. Just now, we only had one forward up from Switzerland. The other players came back because it's calling that attention to the attacking ability of the United States, and that's really what was missing in the first half.
The U.S., for the most part, as a visitor, have put their best foot forward in the attacking realm. They haven't bunkered down looking for a tie of any of that nature. They've gone at the Swiss. Again, shorthanded without their talismanic leader in attack, Landon Donovan. Magny. Adu wins the ball. Dempsey. One back by Inler. It's going to be too fast. Overcooked. Heath Pierce. Big hop over Dempsey. Now Lichtsteiner.
Yeah, it's frustrating for Clint tonight. He's got two players behind him, not too much support when the ball's coming up vertical to him. He's done some good things, but it's been a difficult match for him to really get in his best rhythm.
Van Bergen. Who's that? Ooh.
Oh, late flag.
And Guzan.
The linesman kept his flag down. He looks at the head referee, then he finally puts it up.
Yeah, you might see it here. Was it the right call, though? So hard to say. So hard to say. At the end of the day, if you're Brad Guzan, you let that one bounce.
Right.
It looked like it was out, to be honest.
Well, I think he was unsure as well of the wet grass. You know, he wanted to make sure that it didn't get a skip on him. My only question was the referee had hesitated. He kept his flag down for a good 2 seconds. The center referee had taken a look at him, and then the assistant referee put it up after.
This guy.
We've seen Hakan Yakin, how he strikes the ball. So you have one that can strike with the left, but look at Inler. He's right over the ball. And the few passes that we've seen tonight where he's stretched the defense and played diagonals, it looks like it's going to be Hakan.
Well, his free kicks up to now have been outstanding. He takes another one. Guzan redeems himself in a big way with the fingertip save on the very well hit ball by Yakin.
Yeah, great read here from Guzan. You see, he's in a great position in the first place. He only has to make about a half a yard step. This is what he's done all year for Chivas USA. It's been solid.
Came in quick. Adu. And here's Lewis. He is tripped. It's going to be a free kick. Danny Zatela, another one of those under-20s that played so well, at least the group stages for the U.S., preparing to come in. And for Zatela, this is his first cap for the senior team, and he is gonna, well, he's coming in for Eddie Lewis. So youth served as we had expected for the USA. And they're going to give Freddie Adu the free kick opportunity. Gets some air underneath it. Gets out to Caliph. They want a handball. It looked like it hit a handball. Frank de Blecker, he actually moved the whistle to his lips, but decided not to blow. Zatela's first touch to knock it out of play. And, well, the U.S. get shortchanged there. Magny.
See about close to 10 minutes for Zatela to get in, get some nice touches, get his first cap. This is a player, his best quality is switching the play, having a good vision, strikes the ball well.
And Kufo. Pierce. Everyone that's come off the bench for the U.S. has played solidly. We'll see if that rings true for Zatela. Guzan came off the bench, had that bad handle, but did make up for it. Bradley. Inler. Drives one in. That one all over the place as it hopped into the chest of Guzan.
Right, and fortunate that he didn't strike it very well. It was kind of weak. Nice opening. He's alone.
Zatela. Dempsey. The Rabona, as it's known down in Argentina. I don't know what they call it in Switzerland.
And that's a good ball from Edu right there, just to simplify. Oh, he's in.
Zatela. Dempsey! Yes! Michael Bradley in the 86th minute has given the U.S. the goal that might break their streak in Europe. And it was Zatela who made the difference. The kids can play.
You see, he's pleased. I love this goal because it's more of a team goal. It starts with several passes, an opening movement, then you get this deflection. This is what Bradley does so well. He puts himself in positions where he follows the play right in the heart of the area, and he doesn't back out of it. Great goal. You see Zatela, who opened up the movement on the right side. Then you get the Rabona you were talking about from Dempsey. He comes back around. Give credit to Maurice Edu because he simplified the play and opened up, connected a pass to the outside to allow that cross to go in. Big goal for Michael Bradley.
And his first goal for the senior men's team. Michael Bradley, the coach's son at 20 years of age, with a massive goal that may break this streak. It should break the losing streak. Will it start a new winning streak?
And this is where the concentration comes in. They got to have the attention to being tight. Good tackle.
Maurice Edu going to ground to sweep that one away. Panic right now for the Swiss. Magny.
And I think Maurice Edu is one of those players that gets better as the game goes on. And initially, he's got to feel out what's going on.
Yakin.
You see now they're just bypassing a little bit. No longer any build-up. They're looking for the direct play with a little bit of an angle.
Danny Zatela, who just made that move to Spanish soccer with the cross that Dempsey found and set the table for Bradley. Here's, I should say, in 2006, the U.S. won at Poland, but it's been a long wait for another victory on European soil. They're minutes away from achieving that. They could seal the deal now as Bradley wins the ball in the midfield.
Good decision.
This is Dempsey. For Adu, slips in, and he's just pushed it. Freddie Adu, a blast behind the Swiss defense that had concrete shoes on.
You see, the referee was going to give a foul for Dempsey. He just chips it in behind. And look at Adu. He stretches behind the defense. He did everything right. The final touch wasn't there, but this is more positive for the United States. Be careful. He might show a yellow here.
There's a reaction on the U.S. sideline.
Yep.
What a moment that would have been, as the under-20s have really came up in a big way. Adu has made an impact. Zatela an impact. Michael Bradley was on an under-20 side. He scores the goal.
It looked like Zatela got a yellow card on the last one. You got to give credit to Bob Bradley as well, making the changes when he did. We saw in the first half that it was a great concentrated effort in the midfield, trying to close down. The back four have been good, particularly the central defense, but they just didn't have in transition attacking players that were going to open up Switzerland. And we talked about maybe Finley coming in. We talked about Adu. Zatela gets his opportunity as well, and he made the most of it. Good work from Bob Bradley.
Dempsey, Adu again behind the Swiss defense. Goes down. Well, he sold it well, but he's not going to get the penalty decision from Frank de Blekery.
Well, the speed element is there. This is the disadvantage of being short as he is. He gets kicked. He's not faking here. Puts himself in a good position. He's going after the ball. And he gets played right across the face with the bottom of the foot.
At the end of the day, Stefan Grichting's boot shouldn't be up there. He got away with one. 90th minute, the U.S. just have to deal with stoppage time, and a very important victory could be theirs. Robbie Findlay, a guy who's had a tremendous first season of Major League Soccer. He will likely at some point make his first appearance for the U.S. senior team. And here comes Findlay. He's going to replace Clint Dempsey.
And we see when Dempsey has players around him and he's surrounded, a little bit more participation of other players that he's able to create, he's able to combine, he's able to use his options in a good way. That last little opening pass that he made to Adu. It was a tough night for him because he had to do all the dirty work. He's taking his time.
Yeah, but it made it sound like he was laboring off the pitch. He makes it. Findlay, a different speed altogether coming onto the pitch for the U.S. There's going to be 2 additional minutes. They have begun. Caliph. Adu. Spinning, pirouetting here and there. 3 or 4 sensational runs from young Freddie. And what a great sequence on the goal. Started by Adu and continued by the man we just saw there, Danny Zatela.
And one of the things we were talking about at halftime, Max, and Peter Novak had said as well, that they need to close down a little bit more, tighter pressure and transition being quicker, but also to open up the field. And they introduced some players that definitely stretch those back four. That made the difference in this last 15 minutes.
Adu, free kick. Wow. Well, Freddie Adu has arrived in Europe as an international, as he still labors to get some playing time with Benfica.
Well, he's just doing what he's done his whole life, getting to the ball first, making a nice touch, knows that the player's going to be a little late, picks it up in a great location. He's on the ball. He's in the zone right now. He wants to take this. We've done some matches at DC United when he scored some great ones from here.
Adu is joined by Cherundolo, but likely this will be all Freddie's. The U.S. up a goal, just about putting the final touches on an important victory in Europe over a top European side. Adu over the wall into Zuber-Buehler. And And now Bob Bradley and all the players for the United States await that full-time whistle. Califf. Finlay. Change of pace there. Fresh legs. Van Bergen. The United States victorious. The boos cannot deter the delight for Bob Bradley and the United States. They started off slow, they got adjusted, Christopher, and then they really delivered the goods in this second half.
Well, I think that's a sign of a quality team, being able to figure it out up against a difficult opponent, a quality opponent. The United States didn't play the most attractive football in the first half, but they were solid, they closed down, they made it tough, they battled individually in the back four, and the central defense particularly. Bocanegra and Yewu were solid. Califf was good in the second half when he came in. But then you got that little attack, the last 15, 20 minutes where you have players that can open up Switzerland, stretch them out, add a little bit of creativity and variation. That made the difference. Bradley was able to sense the moment and trail, follow the play, arrive at the right time. It was a big goal, big win for the United States.
This will be a tough pill to swallow for the Swiss and their public. And as you can see, Blaise and Kufo will leave them scratching their heads. The United States, without Landon Donovan, without Brian Ching, and many others, get a win thanks to this goal from Michael Bradley. And he is delighted, as you would imagine, his first senior international goal. Okay, USA 1, Switzerland 0. Michael Bradley and company smiling after this one. We'll send it to a break as the U.S. finally get the victory in Europe.